sports fans, this is Robert with WTP Sports Dudes here live this morning on this Saturday. Man, we got a lot to talk about when it comes to college football and their decision to stay at 12 teams, how Notre Dame factors into this whole thing, and what else could this freaking college football committee, coaches, commissioners have been working on instead of relying on going to 12 teams for this next year's playoff. Welcome to our show. I got my man T1 of City League TV, somebody else with us this morning. How you feeling, T1?
I'm tired, but I'm great. God woke me up, so that's a great thing. Blessed. Excited to be on the show today, man. Good to see my brothers, man.
Good to see you as well. We also got our man SEC Sean in the building with us this morning. He got on his white tee, but underneath it, I'm quite sure he got on a Hook 'em Horns shirt. I'm sure he does. I know that's right. How you feeling, SEC?
We got
Sean?
the A&M pajama pants on. We ain't got none of that burnt orange stuff going over here. Pretty good. I had a buddy of mine called me up. A quick little story, if y'all don't mind. A little buddy called me up. You know, him and his wife been having some problems. They went to Jerusalem to try to patch their marriage, and she passed away. She passed away, and the guy over there is like, "Man, look, you want to bury her here, or do you want us to, send her back to America?" He said it was $50 to send her back to America, or he could bury her there for $1,500. Well, he said he was going to send her on back. So, I need to do it back at home. And the guy said, well, okay. He goes, can I ask why you'd rather spend that much money? And he said, man, the last person I knew that died in these areas, he was dead, dead for 3 days and came back to life. And I can't take that chance.
John, you full of jokes this morning, bro. You full of jokes this morning.
I like that one. Sound like something I would do and say.
Right. Same here.
Yeah. And we also got our man Post Game of the Post Game 86 podcast in the building with us this morning. How you feeling, Post Game?
Feeling good, Rob. How y'all doing this morning?
Doing fabulous.
Good.
Fabulous. Just trying to see when this weather's going to bear down on us and force us into some uncomfortable situations. Well, let's go ahead and get into what we've seen the college football committee, the commissioners, the coaches, all this discussion they've been having over those few days before they came up with the decision to go ahead and stay at 12 teams in the college football playoffs. What are your thoughts on college football staying at 12 teams for the playoff?
So is that for sure? They're not going to expand it?
It's for sure for 2026. It's going to be 12 teams.
I wouldn't say that I'm overly upset about it, but just to me, the thing that makes the most sense would just be, and I know a lot of people are talking about the 24, 25 teams, but to me, what will make the most sense would be, and I understand that Division I wants to stand out alone, but I would say at the very least they should have went to 16 teams, just like Division 1A, Division II, and Division III. Everybody has 16. And I feel like if they just would have went to 16, I think they could have just kept it right there and said, we're not going to have any more discussion. Every division has a 16-team playoff at the end of the season. If you're 17, 18, work harder next year and leave it at that and go on, and let's stop having a discussion about how many teams that we should have in this playoff. And then next thing you know, they want to get half of the 64 that they got for basketball and say, let's do 32. Like, just put that number out there. And I say the best number is the 16, just like every other division. has had for the past, 50 years, as long as I can remember, however long those divisions have been being the smartest divisions in football. But I would just go with the 16, leave it at that, and move on so that we're not having these discussions every single year after the season.
Yeah, great points. I would also like 16 teams, but if they're going to keep it at 12 teams, then they should have went a different route as far as the group of 5 teams. I don't think they belong. The only way I would like to see a group of 5 team be in the playoffs is if they're ranked in the top 10 or so. If you're a top 10 team in a group of 5, let's just say like a Boise State, then that's the only reason why I would see a group of 5 team being in the playoff field. Outside of that, no, sir. And I would also like them to get rid of the first round buys and make them home games for those first 4 seeds. Outside of that, I don't have a huge issue with it. 12 to 14 to 16, that's the sweet spot for me. But that's as far as I would go. So if they would have made those adjustments to the college football playoffs, I would have been ecstatic.
And let me say something right there off of that real quick, post game before SEC Sean goes. The only way that I will be cool with the bye game is if that first game was at home, because we've noticed these past 2 years that those top 4 teams, they have not benefited in any type of way. And I definitely agree that give them a home game on that first game instead of a bye game. I agree with that. But if you want to give them a different type of reward than 5 through 8 is getting, because 5 through 8 has the home game in that first round of the playoffs, I mean, have the bye and then let them play at home. But I know that they got so much and have so much invested into these bowl games, they would never go week 2 of the playoffs and have somebody at home because they got to go get their bowl money. But I definitely agree with you right there, though.
So both make good points. 16 is I think the ultimate goal. I think you're exactly right on that, T1. And all the stuff I heard coming out of this week's meetings and stuff was everybody was cool with 16, but it seemed to be the holdup was that the Big Ten commissioner, and I don't know if there was anybody else involved, was wanting it to go to, he was cool with 16, but he wanted in 2 years it to go to 20 or 24. And that's where you've got these butting of heads between the SEC commissioner and the Big Ten commissioner. One wants 16 and leave it there. One wants 24, wants to go to 16. So those 2 conferences have got to figure out what the game plan is. Those are the 2 that are going to make the ultimate decision on this. Is it right? Probably not, but that's just the nature of the beast. You had mentioned a minute ago, Rob, something about what else could they have focused on. How about all this transfer eligibility, suing people? Well, what is up in the world of college basketball? You got dudes going to the NBA. They don't make it. They go to the G League. Now they come back to college. What are we doing? What is going on? And the judge who signed off on the guy for Alabama to come back is one of the biggest donors for Alabama.
Wow.
So his wife is actually a lawyer who was defending the guy from the murder case from that Alabama thing a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are we doing here? What's going on? So they should have leave it at 12 and focus on this eligibility stuff right now. 16 I think is the ultimate goal. I think 16 is prime. You get 2 rounds of home games. I agree with D1 again. If you're going to leave it at 12, I think 1 through 4 need a home game. I mean, 5 seed gets a home game, 6, 7, and 8 get a home game. But the 1 seed got to go to a bowl game for their first game? How does that make sense? Make the 5 through 8 teams go to a bowl game and then make the second round the home games if you need to. So I don't know. Just my theory. I mean, I'm fine with 12, whatever, for this year. Just I think we need to fix other issues before we worrying about the playoff numbers.
Hey, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I agree with you all. I would prefer to see 16. I think that just is a better number than 12 in terms of how you can line things up. I mean, since they're going to stay at 12, are they going to move the calendar up? I like the idea of 5 through 8 playing in bowl games as opposed to having a home game. Because if you're going to give anybody a home game, it should be those top 4 teams. So have your bowl games 5 through 8 when they have their games, and then have the home teams, home games for the 1 through 4. I really wish that they would have found a way to shorten this calendar up, because I think it's way too much time. If they're going to have a bye in there for anybody, just way too much sit time. I think that they should have something where they close in that gap, and they don't have the calendar. We all know is screwed up. They need to fix that. So if you're going to stay at 12, fix that freaking calendar, so that way we don't have all this wait time.
But we see that bye week actually works as long as you have. I said that bye week actually works. You know, as Indiana showed, but your average players have to be 22, 23 years old.
That's the thing.
It don't work for the 20, 21-year-olds that's juniors and seniors out here. You gotta be 20, 22, 23, 24.
That's right. I mean, you've seen one team win after the bye week in 2 years.
And they were the oldest team in college football playoff history, or probably college football history, period. They were extremely old. They were full 4-year, 5-year, 6-year players. And I think they might have had about 2 7 years. They were extremely, extremely old.
Flip it and flip it around back to the bowl games, like I mentioned, where 5 through 8 go to the bowl game and then host the other players, the other teams. It would make the earlier bowls mean more, wouldn't you think the Birmingham Bowl would have loved to have like Alabama, Oklahoma play in there instead of like, Middle Tennessee State and St. Mary's Sisters of the Blind? I mean, those bowl games would get more attention then for the bigger brands, even, but it's still just a playoff game. But to me, those smaller bowls would benefit more from that.
Another great point. And you may not have to travel far. Let's say a bowl like that bowl game that's Michigan, you can go there, and whoever Michigan this year in a bowl game.
Right.
Anybody remember? That would have been an exciting game for the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan. You have Michigan and whoever they played. I forget who they played, but I think they played a pretty good team, didn't they?
They played Texas.
Oh, they played Texas. Oh yeah, now they would have loaded that thing up.
Yeah.
And that probably would have been the best Motor City Bowl. I don't think that Motor City Bowl has ever been sold out. So that's a real great point that you bring up right there, Sean.
That's it. I mean, like A&M could have gone up to TCU to the Armed Forces Bowl or something, I mean, so many different ways to make this work, but it's all they care about is how deep can my pockets go.
Yeah. Do y'all feel like there was enough of a sample size to move on from 12 and go to 16? And is there any advantage to 16 teams over 12 or 14 teams?
Well, I'll jump on this one real quick. I don't worry about the sample size too much. is there advantages to 16 teams? Yeah. I mean, there's advantages because, I mean, for the fans, you get more football. But for the universities, you get a chance to bring in more money to your program, and your fan base has more of a chance to go watch because you get more games at home potentially. If you're a top seed, you could get 2 games at home under the model we've talked about. 14 teams, okay. The biggest thing, and post game said it earlier, the biggest thing, get rid of this group of 5. This year's playoff would have been so much better. And you can argue or not, but if you argue, I can't stand. I don't see how. You can't tell me that Notre Dame and Texas being in this, or even a BYU being in this playoffs, would have made it worse than Tulane and James Madison. There's no way that's possible.
I'm like this. I'm 53 years old, and I don't believe that I've ever heard Division I AA, Division II, or Division III complaining about the amount of teams that they have in the playoffs. I don't think I have ever heard that. So I don't know if just Division I, if they just feel like, hey, we're Division I, we should be different. Well, if you're different, go to 24. What do you have the top 25 teams for year after year after year after year? What does it matter if 25 through 13 means nothing? Get rid of the top 25 then. I guess that's just entertainment. Get rid of it. What do you have it for? Have the top 16. Do the top 16 from here on out. So everybody else after that don't matter. So you have 4 teams that's fighting to try to get into this playoff. A lot of the stuff that the Division I does, we all know it just doesn't make sense. But they want the dollars. They don't care about the cents.
Yeah, I do believe there's been enough sample size, and I'm not huge on it. Similar to SEC Shine, you just add a couple more teams. I would have loved to see Notre Dame in this playoff field. I would have loved to see a Texas or a Vandy or a BYU. Those, we all know those are the teams that just missed the cut, and I think it would have made for a better playoff had 2 of those teams or 4 of those teams been in the field. So expanding the field, I mean, better ratings according to the teams that just missed the playoffs. They would have brought their energized those fan bases, better viewership, given the brands that just missed the cut. So there would be a lot of advantages of getting those teams, those extra few teams in the playoffs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's been a big enough of a sample size. I mean, it's only been 2 years, but I think that's enough for us to have seen that, listen, there's some things about this thing that need to be fixed. For one, when you got 12 teams, there's too long of a layoff for the teams 1 through 4. And we've seen 7 of those 8 teams lose their game after they're having that bye. So I think that's an area of concern for me. I think that window needs to be shortened. They shouldn't be off that long. I also believe that when you got a 16-team playoff, like my man, One Take Zay, FanDuel Zay just said down there, with 16 teams, you can eliminate that bye week. And I would love to see that bye week eliminated. I don't think the team should have to wait that long to play a game when we already know at the beginning of a season, a team is rusty, and then eventually they get clicking around week 3, 4, 5. And whenever you have a long old layoff like that, there's a good chance that you're going to come in rusty. And I don't think if you're having a college football playoff, you want to see teams out there rusty. You want to see them working at their maximum. So I think that they should scrape that freaking 12 teams and go to 16, because that's one of the advantages. And then I think at that point, you can also give 2 rounds worth of home games at that point. And I mean, it's going to be a tough sell to get 2 home games in a row for those first 2 rounds. But I think that makes for a better competition. I mean, the bowl people gonna probably be pissed off because they only gonna have 4 and 2. You know, the championship game and the 2 semifinals. But it is what it is at that point. You're gonna have to find somebody else to plug in those other bowl games. But I think that they should go to 16. I think that's the advantage. 12, you got to have a bye. 14, you got to have a bye, and I think they should eliminate bye weeks.
I mean, before you jump on real quick, I mean, you're spot on, but I mean, it's not going to be a hard sell for the commissioners to go to 2 rounds of home games. In the bowl games, you just fill in with, instead of having to be 6-6 to get into a bowl game, you know, maybe you start taking more 5 and I mean, Mississippi State got in with a 5-7 record this year because I believe, like Notre Dame example post game, opted out. So somebody had to fill that spot, so they took the next team, which was a 5-7 team. What's the problem with that? It gives nothing but more of those. To me, it makes college football better because those kids get to practice an extra month or whatever. So it doesn't hurt college football by those 5-7 teams getting in my opinion.
Yeah. Our man One Tech Zay mentioned 24 teams. What is your for or rebuttal against 24 teams?
Yeah, I just don't think, like, it sounds good on paper, but I don't think there's 24 teams who can win a championship. I think you're watering down the field if you go that big. It sounds exciting, you know, but I don't think there's 24 teams worth a shot at being crowned a champion. I just think we're over saturating the field if we go that big.
I 100% agree with that. I don't see the need for 24. 16, you want to go 16, to me, 16 is the perfect number, but I don't think going over 16 is worth it. Like you said, that 24 ranked team, what real odds do they have to win it all?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. 24 through probably 19 or 18, they're going to pretty much have 100% chance of being and whatever for all the years, because if they're playing the top teams, you're not getting a 20th ranked team beating a 4th ranked team. We don't see that often at all, unless it's, you know, Ohio State, Michigan.
Well, and even then, you would be taking the higher seed, would be playing at home. So the 24th seed or whatever would be even at a worse disadvantage.
Agreed.
I don't know, man. I'm going to give you a little bit of pushback, man, because I feel like if it did go to 24, of course, that it might make it a little bit watered down. But when we think about some of the teams that were back there with your USCs, your Iowas, your Michigans, teams that was like 18 to 20 something, I think they would have made for some good contests, man. I think that we will get to see games if we went to 24 that we don't ordinarily get to see on the schedule during regular season. So I would be all for that. The only reason why I wouldn't want 24 teams is because now you got to have a bye, and I don't want any buys. And I think that if we went to that, we would have to move the clock up, the schedule up, the calendar up, so that all of these games can be played. But I really would not mind 24 teams. I just wish that there was a way to have a number of teams beyond 16 that don't require for you to have a bye. And that would mean it would have to go all the way to 32, which I really feel like is way, way too much. But 24 would be cool with me, but you got to have buys. But I would like to see some of those matchups in those games. Of course, that would probably blow up bowl season in some way, maybe. I'm not sure. but I would like to see it happen. Maybe they need to do that at the group of 5 level as a test run with them, because I definitely believe the group of 5 teams should not be in the college football playoffs unless they are ranked in that top 12, where if you're going to have 12 teams, it should be the top 12 ranked teams in the country, not giving any favoritism to somebody who won their group of 5 conference and they're the highest ranked group of 5 team. I don't think that should be allowed. I think they need to scrap that.
Hey, I thought you was gonna say not giving favoritism to the SEC and putting 15 SEC teams in that top in that 24 team playoff. I thought that's what you were about to say, but I'm agree with you on another point too, Rob, where, as we saw some of those bowl games, you take a USC could have went in there and popped somebody in that first round. So I agree with you right there. And if you go all the way down to Notre Dame, let's say we have Notre Dame who might have had slipped all the way down. As we see, they didn't get in. They might have been down to 20. Notre Dame could have came in and popped somebody. So, yeah, those lower teams. I think we actually had quite a few teams. We definitely could have did at least 20 last year. Definitely could have did at least 20 last year and had some good games in there. You could have threw a Vandy in there. Could have threw a Michigan in there, a Illinois, a Texas, Notre Dame. So yeah, we could have easily got the 20 last year.
I'm just looking at. I'm just going to throw this out. Just bear with me for a minute because I've got the AP rankings up, the end ones. Now, the AP, think of them what you will, but that's all we got to go with right now. So let's say we went to 16 last year, or this year coming up, and let's just take these rankings. You have your 16 seed is Virginia. They'd get Indiana. And then you go all the way up the list. You get, let me see. So you get like Texas A&M, Alabama in the first round, Texas Tech, Notre Dame in the first round at Texas Tech, Georgia, BYU, all the way through. Now, if you go out to 24, the top 8 seeds would get a bye, which would be cut off at A&M, would be the last seed with a bye. So then you get something like North Texas at Alabama, Navy at Notre Dame. That's what I'm saying. Those 23, 24, 22, they're just not going to. The one team that probably could have done some damage would have been a number 20 USC, and I think they would have got OU, and Michigan would have got Texas. But the rest of those games are just going to be blowouts. Notre Dame, we already saw what they did to Navy.
Look, fellas, I get y'all points, and I do agree with y'all. If we know like a team like USC or Michigan would be competitive in an expanded field, but that's not the point. The point is, are they deserving to compete for a national championship? There are teams ranked 23, 24, 25 that would give us great matchups in these playoffs. I agree with that 100%. But are they deserving? I don't think we can get to a point where we giving 24 teams a chance to compete for the ultimate goal in college football, which is a championship. We got to keep this pure and special. It's special to make a college football championship. You know why you don't want the same? When you went to high school, you didn't want the same shirt. You didn't want to wear the same shirt as everybody else because it lose value. You don't stand out anymore. You don't want a woman with 84 bodies because it's not special anymore. We got to keep the college football playoffs special. And how do we do that? Limiting access, giving the teams that really deserve a shot to fight for a title a chance to play in the field.
Yeah. Our man One Take Zay said the thing that 24 teams does, it has other fan bases watching those games. I didn't watch many bowl games that didn't have anything to do with the playoffs. What's y'all's thoughts on that statement? Would it really bring in some other fan bases who will be tuning in to some of those bowl games? And we know that it would give some matchups that we probably would never see during the regular season. What's y'all's thoughts on that statement that he made?
Yeah, I think he's correct. It would bring in fan bases would be energized and mobilized if their teams were to make the field. But again, my pushback is we got to keep the college football playoffs sacred. You have to earn the right to play in this field. And if we expand, it's going to water it down. That's my only point. I agree. It's going to it anytime any fan base makes the playoffs, that fan base is going to be energized. So I agree with that point, but I just would like to keep the college football playoffs special.
Let me get your thoughts on how do you feel about the Notre Dame dynamic in the whole playoff scenario? They talked a lot about where Notre Dame fits in all of this since they're not in a conference, but they're one of the best teams in college football. And how do we deal with the Notre Dame dynamic? What's your thoughts on that in post game? Since you're a Notre Dame fan, we can let you go last on this one.
I'm gonna say this, and y'all know I laugh and I joke and I play around a lot. But in all honesty, Notre Dame is Notre Dame. So I guess if it's almost like like the prettiest girl in high school, and we all OGs now. Some of us a little younger, and she's still just pretty. I'm 53 and she's still fine. You know what I mean? So I mean, you got to leave Notre Dame as Notre Dame is, and Notre Dame is a darling when it comes to college football. Notre Dame is special. Notre Dame is actually too good for a conference, and I think we just have to leave it at that and let Notre Dame be that independent university that they are.
I don't like special treatment for anybody. However, I can see it in this case because of exactly what T1 just said. It's Notre Dame. This isn't like we're saying, Western Michigan, if they're ranked in the top 15, gets an automatic spot. This is one of the blue bloods biggest brands worldwide in Notre Dame. I like I said, I don't like special treatment for anybody, but if anybody's going to get it, that's the program that's going to get it and deserve it. So to me, the only thing I'd say about it is I would say there would have to be something about maybe the schedule strength with some of the that needs to be bumped up higher. Their schedule strength has to be in the top 15 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think you can ever do that because they could have a top 15 schedule and then 3 teams on their schedule become like what happened to A&M with South Carolina and all them falling apart. And now their strength of schedule sucks, but at the beginning of the year, it was number 2 in the nation. So, we're not talking about the SEC, Moss. We're not talking about that getting special treatment. Nobody brought that up but you. You just mad because Florida State can't do nothing, can't get out of their own way. Go put your Notre Dame shirt on and be happy. But yeah, so I mean, they can get special treatment for that, but I'm not sure about that. I don't know. There's got to be some way to do it, but it's just hard to justify that. I'm cool with it. Whatever. Let them in.
I mean,
and I'm just messing with you, Moss. I love you, Moss. I'm just giving you grief, brother.
Nah, Sean, that was good. We wasn't talking about the SEC. Stay on track, Moss. Go get your coffee. Sound like you ain't had your coffee yet. Get your coffee.
I mean, I think in reality, though, Notre Dame's still going to have to do the work. You know what I'm saying? In order to even get the treatment that, we're talking about. The reality is now they're saying if they're ranked in the top 12, they should get in the college football playoff. I think if you're going to have group of 5 teams vying for a spot or they're allowed to get a spot, then they should be ranked in the top 10. And then that way you ain't got to worry about them 2 on the outside of that, the 11 and 12. So as long as Notre Dame is ranked in the top 10, then they should get into the college football playoffs. I think the reality is we already know that Notre Dame is, and this is what a lot of people are saying, Notre Dame could just go out there and schedule 10 or 11 cupcakes and then make the college football playoffs every year because they're going to be ranked in the top 12.
Hold up,
We
time out.
all know that Notre Dame's not going to freaking do that. They haven't done it in their whole entire existence. Why would they start doing it now just to make the college football playoffs? They're going to schedule the way they got to schedule because they need it for their fan base to stay engaged. They want to always be a power in college football. They're not going to go out there and schedule a bunch of cupcakes, man. They're going to always schedule where they've been scheduling, and they're going to want to be a competitive team in college football. They want to see really how good their team is, so they're going to schedule some good teams on their schedule. So I don't think they need to worry about that. But I think they should be ranked in the top 10 in order to make the college football playoff and not just the top 12.
Let me say something real quick for post game go. I'm not so sure that I'm with you on that one, Rob, because I feel like Notre Dame year in and year out has a fairly good schedule, and I wouldn't call it easy. And you can't penalize these teams that they have on the schedule because they're having a down year or whatnot. I think Notre Dame always has 4 or 5 teams on their schedule that it's gonna be a banger. And if any other team from any other conference had that schedule, they may be in trouble. So I'm not so sure that I could agree with Notre Dame having cupcake schedules. I can't even really think of a time when I thought that Notre Dame had a cupcake schedule because they're playing against these Power Four teams wherever they may come from, and they're always playing USC, the teams that they just used, like they used to always play Michigan, and like they always have tough teams on their schedule. So I don't think that I've ever seen a Notre Dame schedule that was a cupcake schedule. I could be wrong. So post game, you can fill me in.
I mean, that cupcake schedule, man. You gotta think Notre Dame has just made agreements with Texas, Bama, Clemson, Florida State, teams like that, Michigan. Those are teams that are going to be on the schedule in the upcoming season. So, I mean, when I hear people say cupcake schedule, I know there's a huge, you know, portion of the population that hates Notre Dame. You either hate Notre Dame or love Notre Dame. So I mean, I get it. I get the shots taken, but what does it? Let's say they do play a softer schedule, right? And they go undefeated and make the playoffs. And they get in the playoffs and they beat every team in the playoff and win the championship. What does it matter about your regular, like I get it, but what did at that point, what did your argument of they played a soft schedule matter if they got into the big dance and beat all the big dogs? You see what I'm saying? As far as the agreement with Notre Dame being ranked in the top 12 guarantees them a spot. I still don't believe that guarantees Notre Dame a spot because guess what? The selection committee could say on the final rankings, okay, we like how number 13 played as opposed to Notre Dame. So we're going to slide Notre Dame out of the top 12 and jump them with another, with let's just say Alabama. So it's even though they came to agreement with the other big conferences, let's remind the people that the SEC, the Big Ten, all these other conferences agreed to these terms. But it's not that still doesn't guarantee Notre Dame anything, because they can simply be jumped in the final college football playoff rankings. They have to be a top 12 team. That's not guaranteeing anything, in my opinion.
Let me ask you a question post game. And this is I just don't know the answer. That's why I want to ask. Y'all have the alliance with the ACC for football, of course, because you're a member in other sports. But is it 6 games y'all are supposed to play against the ACC, or is it a set number?
It's a set number. It's either 5 or 6. I can't remember, but it's one of those two.
So here's the thing with this whole cupcake schedule, and I get the guy in the chat, Pikey Wonders. I don't know who he is or what, but I get what you're saying about the schedule. But you've got let's just call it 6 games against the ACC. That's half your schedule. This year, the year past, you had Miami, Texas A&M at the front load. So that's 8. So you only have 4 games. So Notre Dame has to go find teams that are open on what dates that are going to play them. It's not like they can just call and say, hey, Western Michigan, drop that game. You're playing us now. That's not how it works. As somebody who's been involved with realignment in high school football in Texas, where coaches on realignment day are scrambling, trying to fill weeks that are now empty because their district got bigger or smaller. It's not a matter of who Notre Dame wants to play. A lot of times it's who can they play. And then, is that team willing to play Notre Dame? Is a Vanderbilt, I'm going to use them because they were on the edge of the playoffs last year. We all agree. Is Vanderbilt going to accept an open date with Notre Dame with the chance of losing is going to pretty much eliminate them? Probably not. But you know who will? Samford, not Stanford, Samford. Because Notre Dame's going to cut them a check for about $1 million.
100%. Great points. He knocked it out the park, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll reference the USC thing. USC wanted to move the rivalry game against Notre Dame to week 1 or week 0? You can't just do that on the fly. You can't call your first opponent and say, hey, the only way we get USC on the schedule is if we move our game. That's not how it works, and that's what USC wanted to do. So great points, SEC.
Well, Parky Wonders, you might not, you probably do know, but Notre Dame owes a debt of gratitude to those military schools. So from the past, what those military schools did for Notre Dame. So that's probably why they're returning that favor, playing them every year. The fact that Notre Dame scheduled USC, who was one of the top 5 teams in the Big Ten, they played Miami, who was in the national championship game. They played Texas A&M, who was either 3rd or 4th in the SEC. I think those 3 games alone is enough. Now, of course, you can throw in all those other things. Pitt was on a hot streak at that time when they played Notre Dame, and they got dogged at home. They were actually playing in Pitt in that game, and they got dogged. Syracuse beat a really good team early in the season. Well, they weren't good. They beat Clemson. But we thought Clemson was one of the best teams in the country at the beginning of the season. The reality is Notre Dame is going to schedule who they can schedule. And we also know that they're going to always schedule some really good football teams from other conferences outside of their agreement that they have with the ACC. So I'm not going to pile on Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame is a really good program. I just feel like they should be ranked in the top 10 to make the college football playoffs. Anything outside of that, then they have to work their way in, I guess. But I think they're very deserving. They was deserving to be in the college football playoffs this past season. I just think the committee got it wrong by leaving them out.
The only people that I know were saying that, they are people that don't know ball. Like talking about Ohio State played Texas, Michigan, and Indiana. People said they didn't play anybody. That's from people that don't really know. They said we didn't. They just said we didn't play anybody either. Now our schedule, like I said a minute ago, got worse when South Carolina fell apart, LSU fell apart, Auburn fell apart. Our schedule looked a lot worse than it was. Yes, we beat all the bottom teams in the SEC, but we were projected to be one of the bottom teams in the SEC behind all those teams. It's not our fault that they fell apart. Syracuse was a much better team than what they showed at the end. Once they lost their quarterback, they were done. Pitt's trash. No, Pitt was not trash. Pitt was really a good team. Notre Dame and Miami both beat the ever-loving snot out of them, but they were still a solid team.
And they were saying the same thing about Indiana. Indiana played Oregon, and they said Indiana didn't play anyone up into the Ohio State Conference Championship game. Now, given that, what did they do in the playoffs?
Yeah.
That's my point. Conference, and this isn't a knock at Notre Dame, don't take it this way, but conference games, even being a Notre Dame guy, not inside of a conference, you can look and say a Michigan-Indiana game, a Oregon-Ohio State game. You saw UCLA come in and beat Penn State, and UCLA, we all know at that point was terrible. You've seen an underperforming Longhorn team beat a much better A&M team this year. I mean, we've seen that for 2 years now. But there it goes. But it's conference games are in, just because it doesn't look good on paper, they're still a conference game, and those are, whether they're big rivals or not, it's a rival in the conference. I promise you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think PW. I think we all agree that there should not be any preferential treatment for Notre Dame. The reality, though, is that Notre Dame is an independent team that is a really, really good football program, and they're always going to be ranked up there. So you got to have a discussion about that team because they're independent of a conference. You can't just act like they don't exist in this case. But from their discussions, they're saying that they got to be ranked at a certain level in order to even be considered to get in the college football playoffs. And if Notre Dame does that, they did their job by being ranked at a level where they can get in. Because this year, many of us felt like they should have been in, and they did not get in. So that shows right there that the committee ain't got no favoritism towards them, because they could have put them in this year, and none of us would have been complaining about Notre Dame being in, because they were playing really, really good football at the end of the season. So I think that, they got to address the Notre Dame issue, because they're a really good football team that just happens to be independent.
Let me say one more thing, because this is going to bug me if I don't say it. I don't care what football team you are. When you start 0-2, your season goes one of two ways. Either you fold the tents and you choke like a Penn State, or you suck it up, put on your big boy pants, strap your boots on, and you run the next undefeated games in a row to give yourself a shot, which is what Notre Dame did. It's hard to go. I don't care what schedule you play. It's hard to win that many games in a row after you've lost your first two.
Facts. And this is where, folks, man, y'all got to stop eating up these media narratives, man. Y'all got to watch the game for yourselves. Believe what your eyes tell you. There's too many narratives being thrown around on TV, on social media. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid and do the research yourself. Watch the games yourself.
Yeah, FanDuel said if they went to 16 teams, that Notre Dame thing would be irrelevant.
Better yet, just tell them to come watch WTP Sports Dudes. We're going to have the best rankings you can get. We all are not biased at all. We all know the SEC and the Big Ten are the greatest things since sliced bread. Except there's one team in the SEC we can get rid of, but we won't mention them.
I don't know. That dude down there will probably have all 18 Big Ten teams in the top 25. No, I'm just teasing T1.
Maybe 12 or 14.
Yeah.
Don't say 18, Rob.
Yeah, he wouldn't put 18.
I'm not that bad.
No. But if you let him put his and mine put mine, we're probably going to have all 16 teams between those two programs in the playoffs.
Rob, if you don't mind, can I ask SEC Sean and T1 a question?
Yeah,
Who are
go ahead.
y'all? Because I don't believe y'all was on the stream when we did this. Who are y'all top 5 teams coming into next season? Top 5 teams.
I couldn't tell you because the way this transfer portal is, you don't know who is who right now. You don't know who is who. So these preseason top 25s and all of this, they're just throwing paper up in the air, and however it falls, that's what they're saying, and they're going with names now. And I don't even know how they're going to do a top 5 or top 25 without showing some type of bias, because with this portal, you don't know how these players are going to come in and impact these teams or not have an impact on this team when you thought they were going to come in and do something, because now I think everybody feels like go get you some old guys. Even Ohio State, we have 2 7-year players coming in next year. So I know that's not a lot, but I think now people may have looked at Indiana and say, let's go get us some guys that have been around here for a while and that's older than everybody and see if we can capitalize on that like Indiana did. But I don't have a top 5. Like I've seen Ohio State as number 1 and then Indiana and then Texas and then Oregon. So now y'all want to flip it and say like the Big Ten has the top, how it used to be for the SEC. The SEC would have the top 3 in the top 5. And I'm not with that. So I don't know. I don't have a top 5.
Yeah, that was my top 5 too. One take.
Yeah, I'm kind of with T1, but I mean, I'll put one together. I'm not in any order. I'm not saying this is the order of ranking for them. Just probably my top 5. I got to put Notre Dame up there. I think y'all are going to take a pretty big step forward. I know you lost 2 stud running backs for sure, but your quarterback's a year older, and I think that defense gets a year better. Ohio State, you got to put them up there every year until proven differently. I'm not putting Indy in the top 5 right now. I want to see what they can do with all those 7-year players gone and a younger roster. They're probably 6-7 range for me, but not in my top 5 to start the season. Oregon's in there. I probably have Texas in there too. And then, believe it or not, probably my 5th team is probably LSU. Well, LSU brought in a ton of talent. Now we'll see how it works with Lane there, but LSU would be right now my sleeper pick in the SEC.
Hey, I got one real quick. So this may be just as hard or maybe even easier. Did y'all pick who y'all have as y'all's national champion for next year?
I think we did the matchup.
Yeah.
What was the consensus matchup?
I don't think we had one. I had Notre Dame, Texas. Rob, who'd you have? I think you had Notre Dame.
I had Notre Dame and Oregon.
Yeah, I had Notre Dame and Hawaii.
Golly, Sharp. You really reached right there.
He
wanted to say Texas, but he just couldn't.
I put $2 on that matchup for the national championship game next year. So if it hits, I'm going to be not on this channel no more. I'll be on an island somewhere.
I love it.
No, and then I mentioned this. I was at the hockey games Thursday night when y'all were talking about this, but I was jumping in between periods. And I had said, let's just go crazy and go Notre Dame versus SMU and start another holy war with the Catholics versus the Methodists. So
I'm going to tell y'all where I'm going with this. Anybody want to take a guess?
Ohio State versus Notre Dame.
That would be classic. I would love that. But hey, y'all, I'm going to pick another Big Ten team, and I'm going to say Oregon going to go get their turn. But I think what we're doing, I think what's going on right now, I think the Big Ten is having turns, winning these natties as the SEC have been doing before we put a stop to it. And I think that Oregon is going to get over that hump next year.
Oregon bringing back that front four, man, is going to be the difference, bro. I'm like, those guys decided to come back is what made me pick Oregon to be one of the teams down there, because if with them front four, man, they could be hell on wheels. And then they got a solid guy on the back end. I think they could be really, really good next year. And we know there's been their defense that has probably been what's been holding them up. Now, are they going to be able to handle the things on their offensive line when they go against some real good defensive line teams? That's going to be a question out there too going into next season. Do they have the offensive line to protect Moore, to be able to get it to his playmakers on the outside when those guys come back healthy?
Yeah, I agree with that. If they're able to do that, and Dante Moore is able to take another step, Oregon's going to be extremely scared.
Yeah. FanDuel Zay Mossberg got a question for you, T1. He said, how excited are you about getting Earl Little in your defensive backfield?
I'm extremely excited. You know, after losing a player like Caleb, you definitely would want to bring somebody back there with some experience to go along with the experience other safety that we have back there, McClain. So we may not take a huge drop off. Now, you're going to take a drop off when you lose a player like Caleb, but to get a player like Earl Little, who has that experience, who comes from I still will call that a championship caliber program. I think he's going to fit in extremely nice for us and help us with that defense, because that's the only thing that we need to work on going into the next season is our defense. As we all know, we're going to lose quite a few players from that defense to the NFL. And we're going to show, as we show year after year after year after year, how all we do is just reload. And thanks to this transfer portal, we have been able to plug some players into these positions of need for next season. Just like we have a few linebackers coming in for Sonny and Reese, and they're fitting that prototype. These guys are coming in there 6'3", 235, 240, run pretty good 40s. So I think Earl Little is going to be a great addition to this Buckeye team, as will quite a few of these other transfers that we have coming in. But we appreciate y'all for letting us use him for a year, Mo.
Yeah. FanDuel Zaya said, or One Take Zaya said, Earl Little was nice. The key is Trey Moore the third. Earl will play nickel. So that's your answer to that too, Mossberg. And then he asked about Raheem Biles that went to Texas at linebacker. We needed him badly, so we ended up getting a guy who can go sideline to sideline, who can cover tight ends, who's a playmaker, who had a lot of tackles in the Big Ten this past season. And no, he didn't play in the Big Ten. He played for Pitt in the ACC this year. And he's a guy that we can pair up with Ty Anthony Smith, who is a really good cover linebacker as well, who can go sideline to sideline. But those guys are a little bit smaller. They're not thumpers. And Will Muschamp is going to be looking for him a thumper. He needs somebody that can come downhill and bust somebody's skull open. So those two guys are going to be a nice pair to have, but he still got to fill a void at that linebacker spot with a thumper. We got another guy at the linebacker spot too, but we got to see how he's going to work out for us.
Hey, fellas, what do y'all think about this? I'm starting to see quite a few players not really earn this NIL money that they're getting. Is anybody else seeing that out here?
That's a fact.
It's quite a few players that are robbing college football right now, and I think that they're gonna have to figure something out with this money that they're giving up, because I know the programs are seeing it as well. Like, shoot, we gave this dude 500, 750, a million, and the what they got in return isn't matching up to that money. Are we going to see this money dropping down for these players any?
For incoming high school guys, it's definitely about to drop.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because they're coming in and not even seeing the field for a couple of years, and we talking 5 stars.
And then hitting the portal right after that 1 year, you done stole that money.
Stole that money.
Well,
Hey, Quinn came up here and got him a hot million he graduated early, came up to Ohio State, got a hot millie, and banged out. Power
well, he knew y'all was some suckers.
Oh golly.
I told you,
Hey.
I called that when he first said he was leaving to come to Ohio State. I told y'all, I told all the guys he's gonna be here 1 year, and then he's leaving.
Hey, but listen here. I truly, truly believe had he stayed, I believe he definitely would have got him a natty. I believe he would have been, because I love that cowboy slanging QB, man. I really, really believe that he would have got him a national championship up out of Columbus. I'm almost like 97% sure that he would have been able to spin that ball good enough to these receivers, and our running backs would have been good enough to, maintain that ground game. And I truly believe he would have got 1, possibly 2, because he was there long enough. If he would have started, 2-3 years here at Ohio State, I see him a Heisman. He'd had a Heisman. I think he would have had a pretty good career here, seeing what he did at Texas. I think he would have had a better career than he had in Texas, and he had a pretty good career in Texas.
Well, you might have to factor in the fact that he was injury prone. So if y'all could have kept him clean and he didn't make some of them dumb runs he made, taking them hits, then he probably would have been if he would have played all the games, yeah, he definitely could have won a national with Ohio State. He needed to stay healthy, though. He couldn't stay healthy at Texas.
Yeah, our as you see, our QBs really don't get injured like that. They go to season, they go to whole run.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to tell too. I posted that. Zay asked about Seaton, that offensive tackle, if he finally committed, and he did. He's going to LSU.
Really?
Yep. Which, LSU has to rebuild their whole offensive line. 2 of them are at A&M now. So 2 of the ones from last year. So let me see.
Who was he talking about? Seaton? Seaton with the LSU?
Yeah.
With the LSU, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I saw Oregon, and then it apparently came out, it fell through or something. So then this morning I saw him from On3, Hayes Fawcett said he told him that, LSU. So
yeah, once Texas signed that other
Ohio State gonna have to start throwing some money out here, man, because teams are throwing money. Like Texas is throwing money. Like we were supposed to have Files. He was supposed to come home, but we just could not match that oil money with Texas. But I think Ohio State they're gonna have to make a decision, because if they don't, they're just going to be Ohio State. It won't be a national championship. Sure, it'll be playoffs, but that's not the ultimate goal. They're going to have to start spending some money and spending big. They're going to have to match some offers, or, we won't see another national championship, because right now it's big bank take little bank. It ain't no other way to put it.
Yep. That's dead straight. Right now, it's a Wild West. Who's got the biggest saddle pack is what it comes down to. And that's why I said these screw this expansion and shit. Let's get this other stuff fixed first, man. This is getting hard to even keep up with. I don't even know who's where anymore, what's doing who, or who's doing how, or what college my best favorite player plays for anymore. It's just getting out of hand. We just need to fix this right now. I can't keep up with it. Too much stuff going on.
Yeah, one Tech Zay, you're right. It's title or bust for Texas as well. They got to win the national championship, man. They made it to 2 semifinals. They didn't make the college football playoffs this past year. As a Texas fan, we need a national title, bro. So Steve Sarkisian is going to have to make it happen. That's why they all in, and that's why a lot of players who felt like Texas let some guys get away that they should have paid money for, like Trey Wisner and Parker Livingston and those guys who played really well for Texas last year. They had to free that money up, man, because they had to get some other guys who can make plays in the run game and in the pass game to upgrade our team, man. So them dudes had to go. And Seaton, we couldn't get him once we signed that tackle. We didn't have the money for him. And we didn't have the spot for him either.
Don't.
Y'all got money. Stop it.
No, we don't have no money for Seaton, bro. We don't have no money.
Y'all got money. Y'all have a bottomless pit. They said Texas is going to spend $40 million for that roster next year. And if that is the case, and I really don't even believe in the win a title or it's a bust now. I don't believe in that now with this transfer portal, because you can have a great team coming into the next season and you could be looking for great things to happen. But if another team goes and spends the big bag and grabs the top quarterback along with the top offensive lineman, along with the top defensive end, and you don't have a chance. You don't have a chance. So that title or bust thing with this transfer portal, you could bust very easy, and you could be busted by week 6.
Yeah. I promise you, it's not for lack of money at the University of Texas. I don't care.
Right. So stop it, Rob.
If I wasn't on this podcast, you could maybe bark up that tree, but I'm sitting here and I know different.
I'm not saying Texas doesn't have the money. What I'm telling you is they were not about to have spent money on all these linemen that they spent money on and then spend money on another tackle who one of them dudes was not going to get to play, and they don't want that money sitting on the sideline. They want that money on the field. So they weren't about to pay that money for Seaton once they got that other tackle, and they're probably going to bump Brandon Baker into guard. They weren't going to do it. He's definitely not going to come and play left tackle over Trevor Gooseby. So it was a no-brainer. Once we got that other tackle, we couldn't mess with Seaton anymore. That's why he fell off of our radar. But, I mean, we could have signed him, but somebody would have been sitting on the bench, and we don't want that. We want guys playing that we're spending this money on. What do y'all think about, should they have figured out this whole money thing, because you're getting this collective bargaining agreement money? Do you think that they should have made it to where the schools who bring in and generate the most money, they should get a bigger piece of the pie than the ones who are not bringing in this money? They should not be getting equal amount. Do they need to fix that as well?
I don't think so, because if you do that, you penalize the small guys in your conference, and a conference is a conference for a reason. It's like a family. So if we're a family, we know we're individual when we go out and play these games on our own. But when it's us against all these other conferences, we should be together. I'm cool with that. And maybe it's just because I'm a Big Ten fan and this is just the way that we have been doing it. And I just agree that we should share this pot right here. You get your money during the season. If you want, hey, make sure that your stadium is filled up. Make sure your stadium is filled up when you have your home game. So you're gonna make your money, and make sure you're scheduling some teams that's gonna throw you a nice little bag if you travel to go play against them. But I feel like you should like those bowl games. I don't have a problem with sharing a pot, and we know nobody brings in more money than my university when we play in these bowl games and playoff games. We bring in the money, and I don't have a problem sharing that with the conference so that the little guys are able to stay above water as well.
That's my whole point on that too is, if you go look, and I saw this the other day, the top 4 highest profiting, I think 5, brought in the most money for athletics was Texas at 1.45 billion, Ohio State at like 1.39, A&M at 1.35, and then I want to say it was like Michigan and Notre Dame, I think, were the next 2. So, I mean, those funds are going, part of the money that's coming in from football and through the conferences with bowls and stuff is going to go help a Rutgers and a Kentucky to be able to go out and get a different coach that Stoops wasn't working. As long as he didn't come to A&M, I don't care where he goes. But those are the kind of things that all this money being split between the schools, it helps the big boys have their money, is my point. Splitting the money evenly helps the smaller people in the family, as T1 called it. A conference is a family. And then we have our crazy uncle Notre Dame who just bounces around and goes and visits everybody once in a while. But to me, sharing the money is fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I don't think that Ohio State going to the playoff game in a second round being guaranteed $8 million to play in that game and they get to keep it all. How does that help Maryland or Rutgers? It just separates the gap between the two even more.
But it doesn't help build the conference. And as a conference, you want your conference to be strong.
They want their conference to be the SEC.
If you want to put it like that, okay.
Great points. I mean, but I think what Rob was asking was, should all things be fair among schools when it comes to money and paying and being able to pay for players? If you consolidated the money to the bigger schools and the small schools, it's a wrap for it. It's over. Because if I'm understanding what Rob is asking, is that should schools should their ability to pay be based on the school? And if we go to that, if that happens, then you're going to consolidate all the talent, everything to the top 10, 15, 20 schools. And it's a wrap for everybody else. Did I get that right, Rob? Is that what you were asking?
Yeah, you know how everybody's getting that 20.8 or whatever it is, 22.8. Should everybody be getting that same amount of money? And I feel like, because SEC Sean, you just said the schools who are bringing in the most money. Now, I'm not saying in the Power Four conferences that all of them should not get the same amount of money. I'm cool with that. My point is, should Tulane be getting as much money as Ohio State, Texas, Michigan, and all them? Should San Diego State be getting as much money as them? Should all of these universities and these 136 schools that play football, should they be getting the same amount of money as the 12 teams, well, the 10 teams that we see playing in this 12-team playoff? I don't think so, man. I don't think everybody should be getting the same. They should get some money, yes, of course. But they shouldn't be getting 20.8 like the big dogs are getting. Somehow that thing needs to be put to where everybody in the Power Four is getting the same amount, but then there should be tiers to it. Okay, you in the group of 5, you get this amount, but you can't get as much as the Power 4 gets. In my opinion, that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, see, I disagree. If you're in
cool.
Division One, if you're in Division One football, I think you get the same cut as everybody else. Because the schools we mentioned, the A&Ms, the Texas, the Ohio States, the Notre Dames, they're going to get that 20.8 plus what we just mentioned, the 1.4 billion they're bringing in. Tulane's going to get 20.8 and maybe 20 million. Who knows? On top of that, what they bring in. I don't know what they bring in as an athletic department. So it's doing nothing but helping the little guys close the gap a little bit by being able to go and get 2 4-star players on a Tulane, a wide receiver and a quarterback. And now all of a sudden, Tulane's going 12-0 and in the playoffs every year and getting more money. And now they get 2 more 4-stars. And now your gap's closing from the top to the bottom, creating more parity in football. You've seen parity in basketball with all this transfer portal stuff. It's the same as football. It's just a matter of football is going to be driven by that money. The smaller schools need the money more than the bigger schools do.
Oh, I mean, I agree with you, FanDuel. I believe that, I want to see all of those schools have scholarships and all of that stuff. But when it comes to that collective bargaining where the NCAA is paying this money out to all of these schools, yeah, they're going to get a piece of that pie, but I don't think they should be getting the same amount as some of the bigger schools who generate the majority of this money. That's all I'm saying. But I get everybody's point. And I like everybody's points that they made. I just feel like, if you're generating the most money, you should get a bigger piece of the pie. Not that the little people shouldn't get any of the pie or that they should get crumbs. I think they should get enough for them to be able to survive. But some of these schools is getting 20.8, and what is it doing? Is it sitting? Is it allowing them to bolster their programs? I mean, maybe since it's just been 1 year, we haven't gotten to see the fruits of that yet. So hopefully we get to see that soon. But, I still feel like the bigger schools who generate the most money should probably get a bigger piece of the pie. Everybody should get a piece, but I think that the bigger schools who generate the most money should get the bigger piece of the pie.
Hey, Rob, it sounds like you want the little guys to get a whole lot of crumbs. You don't want them to get no crumbs, but it sounds like you just want them to get a whole lot of crumbs.
I mean, listen, man, I went to Central State University, bro, where the conditions were not good. I had to take dumps, bro. Take dumps. Back in the late 80s in an inch of water. I had to make sure that I had the kind of flip-flops that were at least 2 inches thick. So I wouldn't have to sit and when I'm taking a dump in freaking water. So I want the little guy to have something too, because I don't want them conditions to be like that on those campuses. All I'm saying is try to split that thing up to where everybody can get what they need. And let's make it fair, because the schools who generate the most money should be getting a little bit bigger piece of the pie.
Hey, Rob. I attended Central State University as well, and I can remember a week, and it might have been a few days, and it was mid-January, late January, probably about like it is right now. We lost heat. I had to sleep with all of my clothes on, sweatpants, jeans, hoodie, and I just took my dad's big fur coat. He had a big fur coat. I said, let me rock this up at Central, man, so I can, so they can look at me different. I had to sleep in that. It was freezing in our room. And I wasn't even thinking, because I had a car. I probably should have just went home. But me and my roommate, man, Everybody in there. We thugged it out, dog. I know about the troubles that can go on at them HBCUs, and I was still cold.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that Central State turned that thing around, and they got a really, really nice campus. And we talking
It looked
about
beautiful. It looked beautiful.
Late 80s. Now we're talking about 2026, and that campus looks beautiful, man. Looks beautiful. Anything else y'all want to cover before we wrap it up, man? We're right at 1 hour and 20 minutes. Anything else y'all want to discuss?
No, I'm good, man. I think we got another one.
I think Moss posted a couple questions in the chat we didn't get to. Got this one. It said post game, is it title or bust in South Bend in 26?
Man, I'm not big on the title or bust.
Me neither.
Thing. Like
Yeah.
I would say Notre Dame is in a position to where they can compete for a title. But title or bust, I've never been a fan of that saying.
That's what I'd say. I mean, if you get to the national championship game and lose, you're going to tell me the season was a bust? No, I can't give it that. I don't like that bust term.
Yeah, not now.
No. He also asked, how can A&M look to get that big game win? I don't know. I'm waiting to see what our portal class does. I mean, I think Elko's gone out and got what he needed in the portal. We have a good recruiting class. We have a really solid start to the 27 recruiting class too. I'm really liking what's going on there, but we didn't get flashy with the portal, but I think we've got needs fixed. I think Elko is doing it the right way. Bring in what you need to fix the holes he noticed, and develop your young talent that you're getting from the high school ranks. A good mixture of youth and veterans can go a long, long way, because next year those youth are going to be the veterans for the other kids coming in. So we'll just have to wait and see. Do I think we can beat Texas? I mean, the Texas A&M game is always going to be one that I don't care what the record is, throw it out the window. You saw that this year. Everybody thought, A&M undefeated. Now we were still an underdog on the road, just because it's Texas. So can we beat them? Yeah. Can we lose to them? Yeah. I'm not putting a lot of stock into it. I always want to see how we progress throughout the year. Under year 3 under Elko.
Did y'all get somebody in the portal to replace Concepcion, or y'all banking on Terry Bussey to make that next step?
Isaiah Horton, kid from Alabama.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Y'all did get Horton. Yeah.
Yeah, we got Horton. We got Bussey. We got that number 3 Ashton Bethel Roman from last year. We got
Craver's back too, right?
Who?
Is Craver back?
Yeah. Craver was only a sophomore. He's like a same as like Smith and Smith and Williams, but we got him, and we had 2 like All-American kids at receiver coming in. Madden Williams and Anthony Gregory, I think is his name. They're both coming in this year too, and they were both electric. I saw them play in the Army-Navy or the Navy All-American game down in San Antonio. I watched them play the other night. They were pretty electric too. So I like what we've got coming in. We've got skill. I'm more upset that we didn't go address the running back room with the loss of Le'Veon Moss. I know we have Reuben Owens and some other dudes, but I just think we need that thumper. You talked about a thumper on defense. I think we needed a thumper in the running back room to come in. And maybe there's one on the roster that I'm not aware of, but I just think that's what you need. In a big conference, the SEC, the Big Ten, I think you've got to be able to have that thumping running back to kind of put some pressure on the D-line and linebackers.
Hey, y'all. I do got something. I did something that has never been done before. probably has. I got a lot of things I've done nobody's done before, but this week I did for City League TV. I did a middle school basketball game. Now I was supposed to officiate this game, but I asked the coach. I said, "Do you want me to officiate this game for you, or do you want me to take this opportunity to put y'all on City League TV?" I said, I'll find you a ref. So he said, yeah, go ahead and do City League. So I found him a referee. Is my volume okay, fellas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I found him a referee, my homeboy, and all ready to go. So he calls me on Wednesday. He calls me Thursday morning. The game is on Thursday. And he's like, man, the other referee backed out. So I'm like, all right, let me see if I can find somebody for you. So I was not able to find another referee for him. So guess what I had to do, yo? I had to referee that game. I filmed and I ref, bro. So guess what? And guess what I'm mad about? I mic'd myself up. But the devil been playing with what's going on, and he messed up my whole program my whole app that I had for that I do my streams on. So I had to get a whole new app. So, I don't know how to work this thing yet. But I was mic'd up and everything. I did the City League. It's actually on. It's on a City League TV page for those of you that are not following City League TV on YouTube. But it's on that page, and I mic'd myself up and everything. I said I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna do something crazy special today. So I mic'd myself up, man. I'm out there. I'm doing my 1-2, 1-2, having a great job interacting with the players. I taught, a few of the players that was out there, and then I've seen a few of the other players. So, I'm talking with the coaches. I got fans asking me like, "Yo, what you on TikTok or something?" Like, yeah. So it was live, and I just knew that it was live, and I went back and listened to it, and my mic didn't pick up because it's a section in this app where I gotta change my microphone, and it didn't pick up, but I did. I did City League TV, and I officiated the game at the same damn time, bro.
Wow.
So you were mic'd up, but the mic didn't work.
Yep, I was mic'd up, and it would have been cold. The only thing that I was worried about was how loud the whistle might have been, But I moved the mic over to it was like on the side of my neck and on my collar. And oh man, it would have been dope. It would have been really, really dope because I envisioned it like, how they mic up the players. They mic up the players in live game action. So, I put my I ain't gonna call it acting, but I put my entertaining hat on too. And when they mic'd up, they know they gotta entertain. So, and y'all know me, y'all know I'm an entertainer. Man, it would have been something special. And I don't even know if I'm gonna have that opportunity to do that again. And I may have to wait till next year, but that was really, really a great experience. And, I was called out on it. I had one of the homies was like, bruh, he was like, even 270 ain't did this. 270 hoops is they the top right now with basketball and football highlights in Central Ohio. And he was like, 270 ain't never filmed and officiated at the same time. He's like, bro, you know. And I just work hard, man. For those who aren't following City League TV on YouTube, man, check your boy out. I'm actually on my way right now. Like, I be doing this stuff 5-6 days a week sometime. I'm actually on my way right now up to Gahanna High School, and I'm going to see if I can catch a little bit of wrestling. So, and I also, I went and caught a bowling match on Tuesday. So just what I'm trying to do with this City League TV thing is I'm just trying to put a spotlight on the student athletes of Columbus so big that, we get the stands filled back up. We can get some of these kids that's at these charter schools to say, you know what, Ma, I think I might want to go back to Columbus City. They over there doing big things. You know, I cover pretty much almost everything. If it has to do with these student athletes, I cover it. Like I'll probably be going over to Eastmore probably this week and interviewing the drama director over there. They have a musical coming up, so I'll go and interview him as well as the cast of that stage play that they'll be putting on. And I just want students to love school again, and I want students to look forward to seeing themselves on City League TV. So right now, I'm out here. I'm the only cameraman, so I'm all over the city. Every single day of the week, I'm all over the city, you know, capturing these moments that these student athletes and these student uh, performers, whatever, they're students in Columbus City, and I'm just making sure that they have lifelong videos that they can go and check out and one day even show their kids like, yo, this was me. And that's the great thing about YouTube. It's here forever. We appreciate you, YouTube. We love you.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. FanDuel Zay is saying
dope.
You should start a series with camera classes. I think that's supposed to be classes. It says glasses, but
no, I think it's glasses. I think it's glasses because he said when you ref.
No, you don't even need that, because that game that I officiated, the coach just had a kid move the camera back and forth. The only thing I would have told him was like, yo, y'all can't talk, but I watched the game. It really didn't bother me because you hear so much talking, you know, anyway, with the fans. And this little kid did a great job. You know, I wish I would have been thinking. I would have threw him a couple of dollars, but the kid did a great job. It's not a hard job to go and just, you know, make sure the camera is going to the left and to the right. Make sure you're just following the ball, and you really got to follow the ball. But I mean, it's not hard, but we'll get there, and we will have the day where, you know, we will have multiple teams, multiple games on live. So, you know, God has already shown me the vision, and right now I'm just laying down the groundwork so that, you know, once this baby get to rolling, it's rolling.
Yeah, you find you a kid at every school
that
you can throw $10 to and say, hey man, film this game. And then next time you come back there, he's gonna be like, you need me to film? Or he may say, where you want to go next, I'll follow you. So it could give a kid a career. If you think about it, going, you know, he could go into a you know, media arts or director or whatever, cameraman. You know, that kid that you gave $10 to at Gahanna High School, he could be videotaping the Super Bowl camera crew for NBC in 10 years. You know what I mean? Just because you gave him that chance. And that's what I want to commend you on is it's not just football, basketball. It's, you mentioned wrestling, bowling, drama.
Yeah.
It ain't just football, basketball, baseball, man. Yeah. There's numerous other sports these kids do that get no recognition because it ain't football and basketball.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, hell, I still watch track meets, the state track meet from Texas. I still pay the streaming device to watch the state track meet out of Texas every year.
Oh yeah, track me fire, and I know it's extra fire in Texas.
I mean, so. You know, I commend for what you do with all the kids and all the different stuff, and not just focusing on the big, like 3 sports.
Yeah. And that's what most people do. They just, you know, they pretty much just focus on basketball and football. You know, I even have an interview on our YouTube page with the band director at Linda McKinley. They're going down to play in the Mardi Gras parade. So, you know, I went in and interviewed him and, you know, just help promote, you know, their fundraising so that they can get down there to New Orleans comfortably. And I just enjoy helping in any type of way that I can for my community.
Yeah, facts.
100%.
All right, y'all. Anything else y'all want to add before we wrap up?
Now, everybody stay safe. We got some good college basketball today. Y'all tip
Man,
off in about 10 minutes, 20 minutes, Rob. Y'all tip off.
y'all
Who we
see?
got?
Hey, no. You see the new Gahanna High School?
No, they built a whole new school.
They built a whole new school. I got to figure out how to get to the gym. Oh, it look like it's over on the other side. Yeah, they done laced this baby all the way up.
Oh, see,
Yeah,
I thought
they
they were
built
just
a
building.
whole new school, bro.
Oh, I thought they was just building a sports complex. I didn't know they was building a whole freaking new
The
school.
they built a whole new school, bro.
Wow.
I've seen some pictures in it, but I'm about to be able to walk into it now. I wouldn't doubt if they had, because when I walked up into Upper Arlington, you ever been to Upper Arlington?
Nope.
When I walked into Upper Arlington, I mean, just a immaculate school, and they even got the stuff up in there. You know, as their mascot inside the case, they have a real live in their trophy case. I'm like, this is just some next level stuff. Like, yeah, look, that's the old school right there. The new school back here. This the old school. It's done. I wonder what they're gonna do with this. I wonder if they're gonna tear it down. They probably will.
They might move one of their middle schools in there. I think they got 2 middle schools. They
Yeah,
might combine them both.
yeah, they might even have 3. I know they got what? Is it East and West?
East and West, yeah.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right,
but I'm
y'all. We can
out
go ahead
here,
and get
man.
up out of here, man, so we can enjoy the rest of our day. Y'all have a good one, man. I appreciate y'all joining on. Everybody out there in the chat, make sure you like, subscribe, share our videos. Everybody's channel is scrolling across the bottom. Please go and subscribe to all of those channels. Hit that bell to get notifications anytime we go live. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Hope to see you with us. All right, y'all. Peace.